This was an amazing match. In 1834, in London, Alexander MacDonald as White and Louis Charles de Labourdonnais played a match in a tournament, and the game was astonishing. I will be explaining these moves in great depth, and I will make it as entertaining as possible, so enjoy. Alexander played e4 and Louis played c5, the Sicilian defense, which is the most common response to e4. Alexander plays knight f3, which controls the e5 square and also prepares for a d4 push, and the knight will recapture the pawn if black's pawn on c5 takes. Louis plays knight c6, attacking the d4 square further and counters white's control on e5. Alexander plays d4, the common pawn push, and they trade pawns. Now, black plays e5, trying to get rid of white's knight while giving room for black's bishop on f8 to develop. Now they trade knights and white plays bishop c4, developing a minor piece. Now Louis plays knight f6, attacking Alexander's pawn on e4, and in response Alexander plays bishop g5, pinning the attacker, the knight in this case, to the queen, so black can't take the pawn on e4 as it will hang their queen and black will be losing. So, Louis blocks the pin by playing bishop e7, and Alexander defends the vulnerable pawn on e4 by playing queen e2, and black plays d5, attacking both the pawn and the bishop and also having a strong pawn center, thus resulting in black having the slighter edge in this position. Alexander takes Louis' knight on f6 with their bishop, which is an inaccuracy because taking d5 is better because you get material and you have another discovered attack on black's e5 pawn. So back to the inaccuracy, Louis took Alexander's bishop and white retracted their undefended bishop and both sides castle, and black plays a5, threatening to trap white's bishop next move by playing a4. Alexander tries to solve this problem by playing pawn takes d5, but it is bad because it allows black to develop their piece while getting white to retreat as black plays bishop a6, skewering the queen and the rook, so white has to block by playing c4. But black takes the pawn back on d5 while putting more pressure on the sacred pawn that blocks a devastating attack on the queen and the rook. But still, recapturing the pawn is still effective. Alexander plays rook to d1, putting more pressure on the d5 square, and in response, Louis plays d4, and the pawn is now adequately defended. Now Alexander tries to play actively, but it isn't the right option here as her plays c4, trying to make the most of his passed pawn and get it off the starting ranks as soon as possible, but it's not good because knight d2 was the best as it connects both rooks together while developing a minor piece as well. Louis responds with queen b6, developing the queen, and Alexander plays bishop b2 so that the bishop can see more squares. Now black plays bishop b7, connecting the rooks while developing a piece, and at last Alexander plays knight to d2, finally connecting the rooks. Now, Louis plays rook a to e8, supporting their e-pawn and hoping to start an attack by pushing his pawns. Alexander responds with knight to e4, which is an inaccuracy because a3 is better as it controls the b4 square. Now Louis plays bishop to d8, and I can see why he did that. It's because he didn't want to block his rook on e8 from giving a circulation to the pawn on the e-file for potential pushing, but bishop e7 is best. Alexander plays pawn c6, pushing his passed pawn while threatening Louis' queen. Louis moves his queen to c6 and they start shuffling pieces until black starts his attack by playing f5. Alexander checks black, but it isn't going to stop him as he moves his king to h8. White plays bishop a4, skewering the queen and the rook. Why is this move an inaccuracy, you ask? Well, it's because Louis has a devastating plan up his sleeve. Black moves his queen and lets his rook be taken as Louis takes white's knight on e4. White plays c6, pushing that passed pawn like there's no tomorrow, threatening the bishop. But now you are about to witness such savage play in this position. Louis Charles de Labourdonnais played pawn takes f3, sacrificing the bishop. And you now ask, why can't white take the bishop on b7 with the pawn that is now so close to promotion? Well, it's because Louis now has mate in 6. Queen e for check, king h1, pawn takes g2 check, king takes, rook f2 check, king g1, rook takes b2 discovered check, king h1, queen e for check, king g1, and finally queen g2 checkmate. All of Alexander's pieces just stood there and watched their king get massacred. So this is why you can't take the bishop on b7, and Louis' thought process behind this move is incredible. So back to the real game where Alexander played rook to c2, stopping black's pawn from taking g2 and exposing the king to danger. And Louis played queen e3, a crushing mistake as not this position is now even as white can block the check with rook and stopping the pawn on f3 from moving further. But Alexander didn't play rook f2, but instead he played the blunder, king h1. Now Louis played bishop c8, stopping white from queening, and Alexander presents a trade with bishop d7. Louis ignored the trade and continues his attack by playing f2. Alexander blocks and Louis keeps pushing his pawns by playing d3, and in response, white plays rook to c3 pinning black pawn to the queen, but it is a mistake because black can buy time by trading the bishops and pushing the pawn, e4. Alexander plays queen to c8, trying to queen, but Louis blocks the queen and the pawn with bishop to d8. White plays queen to c4, completely abandoning their attack as it is useless and the position is now worsened. Louis played queen to e1, doing the same as Alexander. Alexander plays rook to c1, but Louis doesn't care about the queen and plays d2, and in response, Alexander plays queen to c5, threatening checkmate by attacking the rook, but it is simply defended with the subtle rook g8. Alexander plays rook d1, stopping both of the pawns' promotion square and both pawns are under attack. Louis plays e3, defending both of the pawns. Alexander plays the inaccuracy, queen to c3. And now you are about to witness such crushing play by Louis. In this position, Louis-Charles made a la Bourdonnais. Played the brilliant move. Queen takes d1, sacrificing the queen. And now for the magical finish. Rook takes d1 and e2 from Louis, and Alexander resigned on the spot because it is mate in 5 as follows. h4, pawn takes d1 promote to a queen, king h2, f1 promote to another queen, queen d4, bishop c7 check, queen d6, bishop takes d6 check, king h3 and queen h1 checkmate. This was a brutal finish by Louis, and what we can learn from this game is that a large mobile pawn center is a strategic asset. Don't be afraid to sacrifice if it contributes to your main goal. And if close to promotion, look for tactics to fluster your opponent. I hope you enjoyed the video. Also, the game's PGN is in the description of this video. Thank you for watching. Chesscadia out.